Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop. We have a viewer customer and becoming a good friend, Tim Carter, in the shop today. He brought me a really wonderful, beautiful guitar. What is this, a D41?
D41.
Yep. Yeah, it's a D41, and I've already given it a very close inspection, and everything looks really wonderful on it. The only reason he brought it along, he thought maybe there was a slight buzz in some of the fretting up here. So we're just going to take a look at that and see if there's anything that we can determine. It's really a beautiful guitar. It's just almost factory perfect. You can see minor wear marks on it, but they're so minor that you have to look really close. The action on it looks pretty good, although I haven't actually checked the action, but just from the feel and everything looks really, really good. So you're thinking that there could be a buzz in this general area right here, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking so. But
okay.
It's intermittent, it's just barely hitting.
Okay.
It does, so
let's just see if we can see anything or determine anything. An interesting fact is he said these strings are really old. How old did you say these strings are?
Put them on October of 2013, so they're 9 years old.
Well, you know what? I would laugh at that except for the fact that they sound so good still. The G sounds just a teeny bit flat, but not bad. I mean, for 9 years old,
9 years, yeah.
You can't hardly beat that, really. I mean, they sound pretty darn good, and they look good. They don't even look old. All right, so let's just see if we can hear any kind of a buzz. There we go. Yep, there's a buzz there. A little bit there, teeny bit there, not too bad there, just a little bit. We're getting a little bit on that B string pretty much of the way through. I'm getting it on the E string. Quite a bit on the E string. Really, it's just the two silver strings so far. I'm hearing a little bit of something here on the... Not exactly sure what that is. It's a little bit of something on the A string. Now I'm not hearing it as much. It's like a sympathetic tone of something maybe going on. Might be an eyelet or something, maybe. I don't hear anything on the E. Yeah, the only thing I can hear for absolute certainty is these two steel strings. They are definitely got some minor buzzing going on. It's probably just a tiny bit of out of level on these frets. In fact, I'm going to look down the frets separately now and just see if I see it. Because every once in a while, even as fine as it is, I can see it. I can't honestly say I can see that. It's so minor that I don't see any particular high fret. Rather, I think it's a combination of possibly that the action's very low and, you know, there's probably a minor unlevel fret there somewhere. So let's just see where the action is. It's pretty low, I know that. Yeah, it's only at 60 thousandths. That's pretty low. You can get away with that on a few guitars, but that's pretty hard to do. B string is about 65, so the E string's about 60, maybe 61, 62, somewhere in there. So these are really low. I've set them up this low and got them to play before without any buzzing, but it's very difficult to do, I will tell you that. This one, the E string is about, on the bass side, is about 81, 82, somewhere in there, so that's pretty good. That's about right. So let's just take these two steel strings off and we'll work on these frets here, just on this side. Some people think you have to do all your frets. You don't necessarily have to do that. You really only have to fix what's broke. And in this case, that's all we've got is a little problem on this side, and it's very minor. It won't take a lot of filing, very light filing, and then we'll recrown and polish those up, and you won't even be able to tell we did anything. Now that I have the strings off of it, I can see that we have a little bit of grooving going on just the first 5 frets or so, maybe 6 frets. So that, you know, those, it's only 1/1000th of an inch or two. It's not much at all, but there's just a tiny bit of grooving going on. Well, that drops it down a little bit, and as we know, when you note here, if you look back here, there's only a couple thousandths of an inch clearance. So if you got a couple thousandths of an inch groove in here, then that could affect the rest of it. So we're going to very lightly file just these frets on this side, and I like to take my fret file and just go very slowly and see if I feel any drag, and you will feel drag on the high frets. I'm feeling a teeny bit through here, but not very much. This is not a good one if you were doing your very first fret job. This would be one you would have trouble feeling where the problems are, because there's not much of a problem. Now, if you're doing your first fret job, you might also want to take off this string. It might be in your way. For me, I can just pull it back a little bit and I'm fine. You're not putting much pressure on this file, by the way. You're just lightly going over it. And then right in this area here now, I'm going to do a little bit more because there's grooving in this area. And what you're trying to do is you feather it out. It doesn't really matter. As long as you feather these frets out, it'll be just perfectly fine. It may look like we're doing a lot of work, but we're barely taking anything off. Another area that's always suspect on an acoustic guitar is right here where the neck and the fingerboard goes over the top, because there's a slight bend there. The fingerboard has to bend down to match the top, because the neck is at an angle to the top, so therefore this piece here to match with the top has to bend down. So there's usually a hump right in this area, so this is an area you want to pay close attention to. That feels pretty good to me. We don't quite have all the grooves out of here. In fact, they're still showing a very minor amount, and sometimes that's the place where you want to leave it, where it's just barely showing. And the reason for that is that you're not taking away more than you need to take away. So I believe we're finished with the flat filing. I always keep everything cleaned off so I can see what's going on. Now that we have the frets leveled out in this area, we're going to take our recrowning file. Now I've got the medium blade in this one, and that looks like that would fit these frets pretty well, because these are not large frets, these are kind of a medium fret. And we're only going to recrowning the ends here, the part that we worked on. And you don't need to do a lot. In fact, you don't want to lower these frets. You're just trying to round off the part that you flattened. you don't really want to go beyond that, because then if you lower this by 1/1000th of an inch, you've just messed up, because now it's out of level. Doesn't take much to re-round them. You can imagine that you could do this very same thing over the whole fret. In this particular case, this is all that was needed, so this is all I'm doing. This saves time and money, so you only want to do what you have to do. Didn't file very much up here, but I'm just lightly touching them all. One more thing I like to do after I've done the re-rounding of the frets is I like to take 600 grit sandpaper, wet or dry sandpaper, and just rub the fret on both sides like this. I'm kind of rocking my finger on both sides of the fret. And that blends in the filings that we've done where you can't even see it. This little piece here is just made for doing that. You can buy these at supply stores, instrument luthier supply stores. That's what it's made for. And it doesn't take a lot of sanding here either. And once again, you don't want to sand a lot. You just want to clean it up, get rid of any sharpness or any little scratches and things. And that's about all you want to do. I'm hoping that we'll be able to play this now with these strings and not hear any further buzzing. The truth of the matter is, because this is set so very low, it will be difficult. But I think it'll work. Quite honestly, about 70 thousandths on the small E string side is about as low as you should probably go. And this one is at 60, so that's about 10 thousandths lower than I typically try to go. But if occasionally you can get it to work without any noise there. So I'm hoping, because this one's in such good shape otherwise, that we can make it work that way for this one. So when you're done like that, you really can't even tell you've done anything. But now it's all nice and level and clean, and everything should play. If it's going to play, it should play now. So let's see what happens. I've got the strings back on this and up to pitch. Now you start testing it again. There's the B string open. The first thing is to see if it sounds clear. It sounds clear, just no problem. Still clear. Still clear. Sounds pretty clear. To be quite honest, it's right on the edge. If you hit them really, really hard at this low action, it's probably going to buzz. I can hear just the tiniest bit of fuzz behind this, but I don't think you're going to get that out of there at this low action. So the conclusion that I'm making with this is that it's about as good as it can be done. The only thing that you could do to improve it a little bit would be to raise the action back here, and the customer probably doesn't want to do that, because it's always nice to have them play just as low as they can play. It really depends on the attack of the player. If the player is attacking it really hard, this probably wouldn't do. But if you're a lighter picker, play a little more casual, if you will, or maybe finger picking style, then this setup would be perfect, because the action is so crazy low that you really can't do much better. Well, my friends, I think we took care of the problem with just the filing of those two strings. That's all we had to do, was file the frets on that side, feather it out, and everything's just fine. It doesn't have any more buzzing in it, And to play that low, that's about all you can possibly ask. lot of volume too, so you don't really have to play real loud on this guitar. Thank you so much for watching.